First principles has become a concept that I've really embraced. It's not, it's a popular one. You hear it from a lot of people, Elon Musk, Charlie Munger, all sorts of people embrace this that are super successful. But for me, the application of it in the realm of psychology, philosophy, how we think, our behavior, to me is just so powerful. Trying to get to the root, trying to get to the first principles of how we function, why we function, what drives us, all of that stuff. To me, it's almost the only way, right? If you truly want to understand it, you have to aspire to get to that first principles view, so you have the best picture, you have the most clarity of what's actually driving your behavior, what's actually driving your thinking, what are the influences, where does it break bad. It gives you really the best chance to do that. It's not a guarantee, but it's the best chance. And what I find myself doing so often is, I say this all the time, I don't think any of my ideas that I talk about in these videos in my writing are novel or new. Maybe some would be great if they are, but I really don't think they are. The more I think about what value I'm trying to bring in all of this, it's that first principles lens. It's trying to take all these ideas that amazing, intelligent, great people have come up with and just trying to understand them better, trying to get them back down to that first principles to see, hey, how does all this fit together? Because so often I'll listen to amazing podcasts or read amazing books or articles, whatever it might be, and it's presented kind of, not always explicitly, but kind of like there's rules, right? There's these rules that if we embrace these rules and we follow these rules, we will be better off. And I think there's a lot of benefit to that. And for most people, if you go that far, you will see benefit, right? You will see some benefit, because particularly when the people are good, right? I was just listening to Adam Grant. I can name tons of people, Dan Ariely. There's all sorts of people. And some of these people go down to the first principle level. But on surface, most people, you get these rules that come into play. And they're great. But what I'm starting to believe more and more, my hypothesis is that there's not rules to this. There is not rules, or there should not be rules to how we live, how we function, how we think, right? That you can just apply and say, okay, if I follow that rule, I'll be good, right? If I follow this process to determine my values, if I follow this rule of embracing discomfort, all the time, if I follow this rule of just being confident in myself and trying to eliminate self-doubt, right? All these rules, they are good. They have good aspects. But what I find is if you get underneath that, you get to the first principles, that's where the value is. So to me, there are not rules to this. There aren't. There are principles. There are principles that if you can understand how we function, how we think at a base level, then you understand why those rules might work and how they work. Then you can apply them much more effectively and also identify, well, that rule doesn't really make sense for me, because I know at my base level, the source code in me, it's not really compatible with that. There would be a much more effective way for me to get to it, right? And to me, that's the most efficient, the most optimal, the most logical, big L logical way to really try and improve ourselves and think better and be better. Otherwise, when it breaks really bad, you're kind of just throwing darts. You're guessing. Well, somebody said that rule might work, I'll try it. And for so many of us, myself very much included, I think that's what we run into. We listen to these podcasts, we read these books, we watch different, things on YouTube, and it all makes sense. We hear it, yeah, that makes sense, but it doesn't work. It's not changing us. We're not actually improving. And my argument would be it's because we're not understanding the principle. We're just trying to follow a rule, and that can't be the path. We have to go after the principles.